kind of one of the things that I find strange is that, you know, HTML, when it was developed, and we talked about like the World Wide Web and including everyone, is that strings were just kind of presented in HTML, and there wasn't really any facility kind of built into that for localization. So a lot of sites will actually serve different HTML based on, you know, what the user's locale is. And so as web developers here in the United States, if we're targeting the US market, it's very common to just put like your English strings directly into your HTML. But, you know, we're not going to be launching here. So it's important to think about localization, even if you're not able to provide it 100% accurate strings yourself. One of the recommendations I have is the WebL10N library that is that we use here in Mozilla. It's actually used within Gaia itself. You can provide localization, and then it will use JavaScript to swap out some of the strings for you. So make sure that you take a look at all that. And so I don't want to get to questions just yet. What I want to show is just the web. So why don't I take this presentation and make it into a web app? So what we'll do is, oops, that's not the right part. So here you can see all the HTML for my app. You can see I did not localize any of my strings. Bad Nick. Do as I say, not as I do. But let's say that we were to create a manifest, right? And again, this is just JSON encoding. So you can see I gave it a name, I gave it a version, description, a link to my blog, where to find the icons to install it, and that I'd like it in full screen. And again, if you just did a search for MDN App Manifest, the MDN page that I showed you shows you all the various different fields that you can have within a web app. And so what I did is, actually I did change this. Oh, so what we'll do first is we can try this in the simulator. So if anyone wants to follow along, you can right now download the simulator and then go on my GitHub page and download this entire presentation and install it directly in the simulator. So what I'll do is I'll remove this copy that I have, and we will install, let's see, oh, I need to be serving. Let's see if I can find that forward now. Oops. There we go. There we go. Okay. So now that I'm serving it, what I'm going to do is have my IP address. And here you can see my application has now been installed. Check out my extra gaudy icon. Don't ask me to do your icon designs, but so here you can see, here it is loaded up in the simulator. And one of the things that we've worked really hard on adding to the simulator is the ability to then take any app that's loaded in the simulator and connect a developer device or any device in general and actually be able to push this application to the phone. So that's what I'm going to show off now. So I'll show off my running simulator. Here I have one of our target devices that we developed with at work. I will uninstall a previous version that I was testing this with. Has anyone here actually ordered a Keyon or a Peak? I'm curious. Any of the developer devices? Not too many hands.
How would they go about their
I believe Geek's Phone, right, is that they do offer it on their website, but I'm not too sure. I think every day a little bit go on sale, but not sure.
Monitoring the Firefox OS.
Sorry, I don't have them, but. So one of the things, if you look at my screen, is that when you connect a Firefox OS device, is we should detect it. Oh, there you go. See, you can see the change as I connect and disconnect the phone, is that it's actually detecting when the device is connected. And you can see on the left, device connected appears, and a little push button appears next to each app. Right? So one of the things that I had to do to enable this, so let me switch over to the Elmo. Okay, so one of the things I had to do to enable this first to connect is within the settings, you need to enable the developer settings. So from here, we can go to device information, more information, developer, it's really buried in there, and here, remote debugging. And so if I were to toggle this, the device, you would see it disconnecting from the simulator itself. So by default, the remote debugging is not enabled, and this is something that needs to be enabled within the device. So. All right, so now within the simulator, I'm just going to click on push next to Firefox OS presentation. Oh, sorry, first I need to join the same network, otherwise it's not going to find the right place. So,
why is this step necessary? It seems like a pull from the tether.
because I'm hosting the application currently on my laptop. So if it's not on the same network,
Okay.
then when it goes to 10 dot whatever, it's not going to find it. So I have a new IP address, so I'll have to install that. Alright, so now within the simulator, I'm just going to click on push next to the icon. And here you can see incoming request of remote debugging was detected. Do I want to allow this? Yes. And here you can see the application was just installed on my device. I can disconnect it, and we'll fire it right up. There we go. Now we have it as an application. And so I want to, now that I'm comfortable developing it, I was playing around with the Firefox dev tools. I checked it out in the simulator. I pushed a locally developed version onto device. Why don't we put this up on a GitHub page and check it out from there? And then after that, we can even check it out on the marketplace. Okay, so I'll disconnect this.
So with remote debugging, if an error would have thrown a JavaScript on your phone there, you'd see it in the browser over here?
Not within the browser, but we provide the ability to, you can remote shell into the device and see error messages. And also there's another way to detect them as well. But I'll get to questions in a little bit. So for instance, now this application is up, this presentation is available to everyone. It's up on my GitHub. Good luck remembering how to spell my last name. But one of the things you can see what I did here is I have the master branch that I work out of. And because this is just all static assets listed right here, you can see all that I had to do, all you have to do for a GitHub page is create a separate branch called specifically titled gh-pages. And I did change one thing in the manifest now because of the way that GitHub Pages sets up your URLs. So the only difference is that here you can see I added a launch path telling it to open index.html within the Firefox OS presentation because GitHub is going to append the title of the repo in the path. So I did that for the icons and for the launch path as well. And so, since I have this GitHub page, I can then go to, I believe the naming convention is Desaulniers.github.io/Firefox OS case sensitive presentation. And here you can see the entire app now is being hosted on GitHub. Like, this isn't even running on my server. Here, I'll kill my little simple Python server I had running. So this is not being hosted on my machine or any machines owned by me. And what we can do is, if we were to take the location of the manifest, right, so we know that that's valid, we can then take this and go into the simulator, and I will remove that, and I will paste it in here. We'll add it back to the simulator, and I can push this version back to the device now. So that way, when my laptop is off, I can run the application now on my phone from whenever. So I will delete the existing one on this device, and we'll look at the demo again real quick. And then I'm clicking push here in the simulator. So, yeah, that, switch back now. So that's pretty much my presentation. I'll curious, does anyone have any questions for me? Ann?
Yeah, I know that you're targeting, this stuff's not so, but you guys were targeting Latin America among some other countries, and about 200 million users down there with Telefonica and things like that. Obviously, a lot of people here speak a lot of different languages, but we have apps that we may want to try to get on Firefox OS. What would you suggest to us to make sure it works for the Spanish-speaking market?
I would say it's probably. So Anne is curious as to what languages should developers spend time. I would say probably get the feedback from your users. Find out first who's using your app, or maybe who's interested in it. I guess it would be hard for them to start using it in the first place if it's not supported. Yeah, I think so. I think it's spoken in a lot of places. So, yes.
As a user, right, to 2 billion users, users with a low income. So, do you think they will be willing to buy my application?
Depends on the value that you present to them, I guess. But as far as making it easier for them to pay for applications, that is certainly one of the things that we're looking to help out with, and that's why we're presenting with carrier billing, right? So a lot of app developers in these markets feel pain because no one has a credit card that they've actually linked to their Apple account or their Google account, right? So people are using free applications, but they're not paying for either the app up front or in-app purchases. So, yeah.
So does the Firefox OS support a WebGL?
So the question is, does Firefox OS support WebGL? And the answer is yes. One of the demo apps that was in Gaia for a while was a crystal skull that you could rotate and is all entirely in WebGL. So.
The manifest that you were using before, so there's a history of people trying to build those. Are you trying to standardize that anywhere?
I don't think there's no. So the question is, are we trying to standardize like the actual manifest for the app? And I don't think so. But I can see how it would be useful. Yeah, here in the back.
As a U.S. customer, what's the story going to be for me just